have to incorporate your question into my answer.
You do this a lot.
Yeah, I know that.
Rolling? Okay, could you tell us a little bit about the band members you're playing with today? Like how long you've known them, what kind of history you have with them?
The band member I was playing with today, the oldest band member today was the piano player. I started working with him in 1989 when I started my career completely in Europe. And I had a band and I had to struggle from the school to get musicians. And every time I called him up, he was always there. And we have been working in and out. And the second one was the drummer. I started working with him in 1996. And the bass player is 2000, I think, 2000, 2001, and the same time as the guitar player. So I like to keep people that I know for a long time because it created a bond and it gives a sound to the music. But also I like to try new musicians too. It's good too.
No new musicians on this show?
And the musician on the show today was just 4, and we were 5 on stage plus myself. So it sounded like we were 12, but we were only 5. That's great. I love it.
We've been talking a lot about sort of the crossover between life and music, and that writing and performing are basically an ongoing education, just as every time you have a life experience.
Definitely.
It's an education. How does your life and your music interface?
How did my life and my music interface? It has always been one thing for me. There's no question about me writing song outside of my life and outside of my experience. I have no control over my inspiration, and I'm like everybody else. I'm a sponge. Things happen, and you take them in and you process them. Some stay with you with good memories. Some are connected to bad memory, but you have to deal with it and incorporate that into your daily life and make every event, every moment that happens to your life a positive one. Even if it's a bad one, you can turn into positivity. So all my music that I write is always about that. Always about the fact that every single human being is worth it. We are all important. We don't have to be billionaire before being respected. We don't have to be famous before being respected. And the music is the only language that we all speak together. It's the thing that links all of us together wherever I go, from north to south, from east to west on this planet. Music have allowed me to speak to people, to get to people, to see like it's like a mirror. It reflects exactly who we are, and there's nowhere you can hide. It's just dealing point blank with the emotion, with that language and what we are basically. So that's how my life and the music interface in my life.
The next question I'm going to ask, I usually save till later, but since it leads right off of what you said, not only is music the language of the world, but it's also a very diverse culture. It embraces so many more elements than people who work in other fields do. And it can overcome a lot of the prejudices that other fields don't allow to happen. So what do you, in your opinion, what do you feel not only about music, but about musicians that allows them to embrace the diversity as opposed to be repelled by it?
For me, musicians that allow diversity instead of being repelled by it are the one that last longer. Because what diversity does to you is that it always challenges you. It always keeps you alert because you always learn. And for me, the worst thing that can happen to a human being is that you're not curious about anything anymore, you don't learn anymore. How can you live? Because if you think that you've learned everything, you know everything, the only thing that is there for you is to be buried. And diversity for me, is the spice of life, is the future of this humanity. I don't see this world going to look like one color. I see it looking like a patchwork of what we are, basically. And And I deeply believe that in order for us to embrace peace, to embrace love, is to accept each other's differences. Even in America, from south to north of America, even in the middle of America, you have the same passport, but the way you approach life, the way you think is different. That is the challenge of this country, and that is the challenge of human being relationship. So the only thing that I think that can help us really get rid of racism, prejudice, preconceived ideas is to be open to diversity.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Festivals such as JVC Jazz Festival or other things, especially in this day and age when there's so much tension in the air and every day there's something new thrown at us, it becomes very overwhelming. When people come to festivals and they see a performance like yours, they can let go of the stress and let go and just sort of be in the moment and open up their minds a little bit to something other than what you focus on, Monday to Friday. Can you comment a little bit about performing at festivals and what you feel you could give to your audience to allow that?
Performing at festival or performing in general for me is a matter of sharing my experience of life, sharing the music, and sharing the voice. Because I always said I did not choose to have the voice I have. No one chooses to do the job you're doing. You're born with some skills. All of us don't have the same skill. And for me, it's a gift of nature that I have to pass on, that I have to share with people. And if I can make people happy, I can make people strong, then it's worth every single dime on this world. And especially today, as the world is such in tension, there's tension everywhere, and you wonder when you wake up what's gonna fall on your lap. And for me, I believe that music is the weapon that we have to use to fight extremism, to fight racism, to fight, I would say, capitalism without humanity, and to fight everything that is keeping us away from bonding to each other. Because dividing us is a real danger for the future of this humanity that we are all together. And music is my power. I always say my microphone is my weapon of mass loving. And if we can grab onto music, all of us, in festivals or in any concert, and go home and take a moment to say, I just spent a wonderful time. How can I implement that wonderful time in the rest of my week? What can I do to make myself feel better? In order to give that feeling to other people, we have to share those glimpses of time and moment that we have to be able to appreciate what we have.
Okay. The songs you chose to perform today, was there any thought pattern behind it, or do you just choose what you like when you wake up?
No, every song has, the song that I perform, that I sing today and most of the time, has meaning to it. I start first with a song called Ominira, which means freedom. Because every single human being deserves freedom. Freedom is not for anyone to decide to give it to you or to impose upon you. You are born free, and you have to keep that freedom till the last moment of your life. The second song that I sang, Bahia, is a song in which I'm talking about the trip of the slave that leave Benin, that leave Africa to come to Bahia, and that made the return trip back. And here I am, century after, finding back in places like Salvador de Bahia, roots, music, songs that I was raised in, and to hear it miles away from people that doesn't speak the language anymore but just can sing the song. What does that tell you? That there's only one humanity. The memory of a human being is something amazing. And then I sang a song that is a duet with Dave Matthews on the album, where I'm talking about wisdom. You don't have to be old to be wise. A child can be wise. Why don't we listen to each other and learn from each other's wisdom to create a better place where we all can live? And I sang about love, because love, what is love, basically? Who can explain what love means? But on the name of love, so many horror have been done. So many harm have been done to the humanity. And if you just take it outside of the big picture, just put it in a couple. On the name of love, you have abuse that come with it. If you love me, you don't do this. Because you love somebody, you think that you beat the person is because you love the person. What do we do with love actually? Are we using it as a game or as a weapon? Or are we gonna live each other in loving each other in freedom? And so on and so forth. Because for me, all those subjects are really important. As I sung about joy. Joy is the power that we have. If you let yourself overwhelmed by fear, you can create nothing. You can't go nowhere. Because the fear just tuck you home because you don't want to get out and interact with other people. And I think that fear is also used as a weapon of consummation in the society where we are living. So they put fear on us for us to go out to find relief in buying things that we don't need. What's the point of fear?
Okay, and the last question, what is your next professional challenge? What are you trying to achieve?
My next professional challenge is to challenge myself, to be better every time, to continue being open to the diversity of music out there, to the diversity of people out there, to still be connected to people. Because the music I'm doing, I'm not doing it for myself only. If I want to sing for myself, I can just stay in my shower, under my shower and sing. But for me, the challenge for me is to make my music always new, always attractive, always true, and always speaking to people, for people to always feel that concern that I have for this humanity that we are all living in. Because I believe more in human being than I can believe in a billion in the bank account. Because if I fall tomorrow, it's not the billion that I might have in a bank account that's gonna grab me from that floor and take me to the hospital. It takes one person to change your life.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I always said, my mom used to always say, she warned me when I was, when you're younger, you fall in love all the time.
It is
And
true.
she said, you can love anyone, but it's who you can live with.
It is true.